Forget remote deserts and isolated mountains. The world's greatest paranormal secret is hidden in plain sight. In the heavily populated suburbs of Massachusetts, it is a geographically defined zone where the rules of physics, biology, and time itself dissolve. Project NEXUS is the intelligence file on the Bridgewater Triangle. This file is not about one type of monster. It's about the mechanism of anomaly. It forces intelligence to confront the terrifying prospect of a permanent structural deficit in reality. A defect, if you will. From the ancient folklore of the Wampanoag people to modern instrumented sightings of UAPs, the Bridgewater Triangle has a documented, non-stop record of the impossible. Today, using specific declassified intelligence memos filed under CIA RDP 65 Geographic Anomaly Series, we undertake the investigation into Project NEXUS. We'll determine if the convergence is fueled by geological energy or a permanent dimensional rupture. The history of the triangle is rooted in the vast Hockomock Swamp, a central point in the area whose name in the Wampanoag language translates to the place where spirits dwell. The indigenous history is rife with reports of Pukwudgies, small human-like entities known for hostility and mischief. This historical consistency is crucial. The phenomenon is not a modern cultural contagion. It is geographically ancient. An anthropological review confirmed the history consistency of the phenomenon. So this is from the FBI in 1986. Quote, Native American and early colonial accounts of the Hockomock Swamp region demonstrate a high degree of chronological and morphological consistency regarding indigenous humanoids and giant avian entities. The historical record confirms the zone's status as a pre-industrial anomaly concentration. End quote. The localized electromagnetic field instability within the triangle has consistent physical effects on the human witnesses: time distortion, memory lapses, and severe disorientation. People often lose track of hours or feel palpable sense of pressure or wrongness. Furthermore, audio analysis of environmental recordings taken within the swamp often show acoustic anomalies, sudden dropouts in ambient sound, or non-conventional low-frequency vocalizations that defy identification. A military acoustics study noted the environmental stress. This is a quote from O&I from 1988. Quote, longitudinal acoustic monitoring with the MPCZ reveals sporadic but significant periods of ambient sound suppression and non-conventional subsonic vocalization. The lack of consistent acoustic presence in the core swamp area is indicative of a profound localized environmental stress or sonic displacement field. End quote. The geophysical stress hypothesis was refined by the USGS into the tectonic stress radiance theory. This postulates that the intense geological friction and high quartz content in the bedrock act like a colossal natural electric generator. This geological energy, or radiance, serves two major functions. UAP fuel source. The energy is harvested by UAPs, explaining the high concentration of sightings. Or psychic trigger. The low-frequency EM pulses or silent waves trigger hallucinations or awaken dormant psychic abilities in local populations. This theory provides a physical mechanism for the phenomenon. A USGS geological assessment from 1990 is quoted as saying, quote, the calculated tectonic friction and subsurface mineral composition within the MPCZ are sufficient to generate localized high-variance electromagnetic radiance. This EM discharge is strongly correlated with documented UAP activity and serves as a probable geophysical energy nexus for non-conventional aerial vehicles. End quote. The appearance of Pukwudgies, the small aggressive humanoids, was cited as the primary proof for the more radical hypothesis, the dimensional fault line. The Pukwudgies are the best example of non-conventional terrestrial leakage. They are small, low mass, and hostile, suggesting they are the easiest entities to pass through a stressed dimensional barrier. They are not Bigfoot, but something else, proof of a parallel hostile evolutionary path leaking into our world. The small size and high hostility of the Pukwudgies were categorized by the CIA in 1992 as, quote, the consistent documentation of low-mass aggressive small humanoid entities within the core zone strongly supports the dimensional fault hypothesis. These entities are classified as NCTL assets, representing non-conventional biological material that has successfully passed through a high-stress spatial temporal barrier, end quote. The Freetown Fall River State Forest is considered the epicenter of the leakage. It is not just a place of high sightings, but also a location associated with documented extreme human and animal violence, suggesting the dimensional stress may have a psychological or even malevolent effect on the local population. The core of the intelligence finding was the permanence of the rift. It is not a cyclical event. It is a fixed geographic feature, a permanent wound in reality, meaning the phenomenon will never cease. To test the geophysical hypothesis, the USGS installed specialized seismic and electromagnetic monitoring stations throughout the triangle in the 1990s. The results were not definitive. They were inconsistent. Data was often noisy, random spikes in EM activity, sudden drops in seismic readings, and frequent hardware failures. The triangle resisted conventional scientific measurements, forcing analysts to rely once again on the terrifying consistency of the witness reports. A USGS data consistency report from 1995 details the operational frustration, saying, and I quote, installed remote monitoring instrumentation within the MPCZ consistently records incoherent and contradictory data streams regarding local electromagnetic and microseismic activity. The zone's refusal to yield a conventional long-term scientific measurement supports the hypothesis of a highly localized, non-conventional energy source actively disrupting sensor functions, end quote. Project NEXUS required analysts to develop an entirely new process for classifying reports, intelligence triage. They had to prioritize a UAP sighting over a Thunderbird or a Pukwudgie encounter over a ghost light. This led to the final chilling classification of the area as a whole. This is the CIA's final quote from RDP 65 Geographic Anomaly Assessment, and this is from 1993. Quote, the Bridgewater Triangle's sustained multi-phenomenon activity exceeds the probability threshold for both geophysical-induced hallucination and independent cryptid manifestation. The data strongly indicates the presence of a permanent spatial temporal anomaly. Permanent spatial temporal anomaly, functioning as a non-conventional leakage point for both known and current uncategorized phenomenon. Project NEXUS proves that reality is more fractured than we imagine. The Bridgewater Triangle is a geographical wound, and we are merely trying to understand what bleeds through. Next time we leave the dimensional chaos and pivot to a single, terrifying, highly specific modern cryptid. Project Lupine, the DHS and FBI analysis of the Beast of Bray Road sightings in Elkhorn, Wisconsin. We will analyze the long-term intelligence reports on this muscular, 7-foot-tall bipedal canid, often reported running near highways and classified as an apex predator. We'll use the DHS FBI cryptid canid memos to assess the core question, is the Bray Road creature a hidden unknown apex mutation, a new breed of terrestrial wolf? Or is it evidence of a catastrophic genetic manipulation failure operating outside of containment protocols? The documented truth of Project NEXUS proves that the highest threat is the place where reality fails. And this deep dive into the archives has captured your focus, your support is vital as we investigate the ultimate modern canine cryptid. I'll see you in the archives.